Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Mindful Monday. If it's your first time joining us, feel free, whether you're watching the live version or recorded on any platform, to type in the chat where you're coming from, if you have any questions or comments. Also, if you have any topics that you'd like to hear covered in the future, you can type them or you can also direct message me as well. If it is your first time, once again, you can type the word mindful in the chat, whether you're watching live or the recorded version. And then I will follow up after the video with a link to get your free recording. It's a hypnosis recording, of course. And it will also get you your PDF cheat sheets, which come out Sundays of every week. And by the way, this past Sunday, I was trying to get ahead of myself and I accidentally sent you this week's cheat sheet. So in your email this coming Sunday, you'll have two cheat sheets, just one email. So today we are here to talk about how to tap into inner willpower when feeling down or demoralized. And so one of the great mysteries of being human, I think, is how we can seemingly get ourselves into the same or almost the same kind of situation over and over again. And we can be doing great and deceive ourselves thinking that we don't need to continue. We're talking about using the tools, the book by Michels and Stutz, but any kind of self-work, etc., until everything just comes crashing down again. Or conversely, we can have a seemingly abject failure that so demoralizes us that we just can't seem to go on. And like even getting out of bed can be a struggle at this point. So in both cases, we kind of quit on ourselves basically. In the first instance, well, we're succeeding because our ego mind gets out of control. And in the second instance, because things didn't go our way or the way we'd hoped, and we feel that we just can't go on. Now, in either case, there is a need to feel a sense of urgency to act right now to get us back on track, to get us unstuck, to get us back to doing self-work and the things that we need to do, basically. So the problem is that we are kind of inundated with distractions in this day and age, right? And this is a sense of consumerism that leads us to believe that something is going to cure us of our problems or make us successful or find us the perfect mate or, just be the ticket to Easy Street, whatever it is. And so consumerism actually makes things worse for us because it tricks us into believing that something is going to cure us. And actually, that just kind of makes us feel that like any kind of effort that we put in, we deserve a reward. And sometimes we feel we deserve rewards just because we're thinking good thoughts, we're not even actually acting upon them. And so this causes us to live in a way that's very superficial. It's on the surface. It's jumping from thing to thing all the time. And so this is diffusing our energy. We're actually leaking energy out instead of building energy up. And when we do this, we're never really in the present moment. We're constantly searching for the next thing. We're constantly searching for the next thing that's going to make us feel better or more successful, etc., etc. And so what happens is when our time on earth actually is over, it's almost as if we never really lived, which is sad because we were never in the present moment to begin with. So as a result, we become down, we become depressed, we become demoralized, and we quit on ourselves. Now, unfortunately, you cannot think yourself out of this quitting or demoralization. Instead, you must become a creator, if you will, a creator of your own life, your own fate. So creators do not accept the fate of quitting on themselves. And creators do not accept the world as it is. They bring things into the world that aren't already there. And so they have an attitude of what can I bring to the world, or how can I make the world a better place, rather than what can I take or what can I get from the world. And so creators do not follow the herd either. They set their own course, regardless of what other people think or say, because they're internally motivated. They're not constantly searching for external approval. And so they resist this superficial distraction, this consumerism, and remain focused on their goals, even when they have to sacrifice things instead of getting immediate gratification. So creators must have a singular focus that is so powerful, it's kind of like a drill boring through stone, if you will. And they're rewarded over and over again for having this kind of focus. They need to put their lives in the service of, we'll call it like higher forces, if you will. That's what they call it in the book anyway. And these higher forces are found deep within. And so we've talked over the past 4 weeks of some of these higher forces from the book, The Tools, as I said. And so they included the higher force of forward motion using the tool of reversal of desire to conquer fear and discomfort to reach your highest potential. And then the second week, we talked about the higher force of outflow using the tool active love to let go of anger, resentment, and rage. And then the third week, we talked about the higher force of self-expression using the tool inner authority to not freeze in public when feeling insecure or self-conscious. That was getting in touch with that shadow self, if you will. And then last week, we talked about the higher force of gratefulness and using the tool of grateful flow to get out of worry and negativity. And so today's tool is known as Jeopardy, and it uses the higher force of willpower for times when you have quit on yourself or you feel just so down and demoralized that you feel like you cannot act. And so the times to use this tool are, number one, when you're in that state of demoralization. You know, you need to do something. You need to use one of the tools if you're following this book or this program, or you need to do some self-work. You need to do something, but you just can't even seem to get yourself maybe out of bed. You just can't focus, etc. And then the second time to use this tool is anytime you feel you've grown beyond the need for using the tools or doing self-work. And you know, this can be something as little as diet or exercise, or larger like relationships, work, etc., etc. And so other uses for the tool can be getting out of bed in the morning if you're not an early morning kind of person, or restraining an impulse to engage in a bad or an addictive habit, or taking your life in a new direction, such as writing that book, or starting a new business, or moving to a new city, or taking a trip by yourself, whatever it is for you. And so the way to do this, and we're not going to go into a deep kind of meditation, this is going to be a quickie but a goodie, okay? And so if you want, and you're not, of course, driving a motor vehicle, you can kind of just close your eyes and kind of take a breath and kind of get in touch with what it feels like when you've kind of quit on yourself, whether it's because you were so high up and then things came crashing down, or because, you know, you're just so demoralized anyway. And so just kind of notice what that feels like. And now imagine, just for a moment, that you see yourself lying on your deathbed and you've run out of time. And this older, dying self screams at you to not waste the present moment. And you feel a deep hidden fear that you've been squandering your life away. And this creates an urgent desire to use any of the tools we've talked about, any of this gratitude, this active love, etc., to get you into action, to get you up off your butt or out of bed and into the flow of things, to get you back to doing self-work, back to the things that you want and need to do, into living the life that you do want for yourself in the here and now, in this present moment. And then take another big breath, come on back to the room, and what are you waiting for? Get into the present moment. So I know it's a little bit more morbid, and I didn't write this on, obviously it came from the book, The Tools, but it is a great way to kind of snap yourself back into that present moment. Just snap yourself back into what really matters, because the one thing that we're all guaranteed is that this life doesn't last forever. And so it is important to live in the present moment and to make things count, to make sure that you're focusing on the things that you do want. So thanks for joining us for Mindful Monday. I hope it's a great one for you, and have a happy 4th if you're here in the States.